Welcome back to Inhibition. Today we're going to do something new. Starting today, we're going to start a weekly video with shorter content, and the point of this is to point out propaganda and lies in the media, and we're going to focus on media from mainstream media even to online media like the Young Turks, which is what we're going to look at today. And the Young Turks released a video in their show about Fox News, and we're going to talk about that. It has to do with critical race theory. You're not going to want to miss this. Stick around. All right, so here's how we're going to do this. Starting every week on Thursdays, I'm going to release on Thursday evenings a video, and it's going to just break down small clips from media sources, either mainstream media or online media like the Young Turk. And the point I'm wanting to make with these videos is just addressing how much propaganda and fake information, including lies, are released through media, and how it is so important to do research and dig a little deeper. So the Young Turks, absolutely a leftist, socialist, progressive network started by Cenk Uygur. We're going to look at it and I'll explain it and show you. But they do a clip here responding to something that happened on the Fox News network. And now this is not a defense of Jesse Waters, who this really centers around. This is actually pointing out to what the Young Turks have done and not so much about Fox or Jesse. But let's take a look and see what this video is all about.
He engaged in a debate regarding what we're seeing in some of these red states passing legislation to ban the teaching of critical race theory. And so Jesse Waters is going to do what Jesse Waters does. He, of course, knows nothing about critical race theory or even what any of this legislation indicates because he hasn't read anything.
Now, I want to stop right there before we actually get into the video. She starts off by, before she actually addresses any facts, she already knows that politically and ideologically she is on the opposite side of Jesse, and so she's trying to immediately downplay it by saying he knows nothing about critical race theory and that he knows nothing about this bill. Now, admittedly, he admits in this clip he hasn't read the bill, but that doesn't mean he doesn't know anything about critical race theory in general. So Anna is already setting up this narrative that he is absolutely wrong before we even see the facts or evidence.
So let's watch the first clip and see how this debate went down. This is probably why people like Steven Crowder run away from debates with people who actually know what they're talking about.
I spent my afternoon reading some of these critical race theory bills because I think reading is fundamental.
I've never heard of that.
Wow, interesting.
And you know what? I was dismayed because not only are these bills poorly worded and vague in their writing, but some of these bills make literally no sense, right? The bill in Iowa bans the teaching, and I wrote it down. It bans the teaching of the following topics: sexism, slavery, racial segregation.
That's not true.
Well, it's in the bill. Did you read it?
That is not true.
Did you read it?
I haven't read the bill.
Okay, then.
I would bet. No, I will tell you something. I will bet
then you
you cannot find anything in the bill that says we will not teach slavery in school in Iowa.
It says it's prohibited from the curriculum.
I guarantee you, Richard,
it's prohibited from the curriculum.
Prohibited the teaching of slavery in history class in the state of Iowa. I guarantee that's wrong.
Allow me to finish.
And I say that with no knowledge of the bill.
Okay, well,
no knowledge of the bill.
Therein lies your problem.
Yeah, well, that's consistent with everything else he says, but
I have not read the bill.
Yeah.
However, I will continue to opine on the bill. What are you talking? You don't know what's in the bill. You haven't read the...
My gut is more important than your proof.
Now, here's the problem. There was no proof written or given yet, and we're going to get into the bill in just a second. But they're laughing and mocking Jesse because he said that is absolutely absurd and it's not in the bill. What you're stating is not true, even though Jesse hasn't read the bill. And the problem with this idea is that sometimes you don't actually have to see the actual bill to know something isn't true. For example, if I were to say that I have magical unicorns in my barn and magical pixie fairies fly around on them every single night, you would not have to look into my barn to know that that statement is not true, right? Jesse doesn't have to look at the bill to know that the statement is not true because of the absurdity of the claim. Nowhere, it is absurd to assert that somewhere in the United States that they are stating that you cannot teach American history until in the 1960s after the Civil Rights Act. That is an absurd claim, and therefore I don't have to actually look at the bill. Now we're going to look at the bill, but I don't have to look at the bill to know that that can't be true. That's not true. It's a misunderstanding. This guy is reading it incorrectly, because nowhere in the country would we ban the teaching of American history prior to the 1960s. That's absurd. That is completely absurd, and it's nothing more than propaganda. Now, we're going to look at the bill in just a moment and clarify that, but them mocking Jesse for making that statement is laughable, and what's even more laughable is these two haven't read the bill.
But you just confessed to not reading the legislation.
And by the way, we read on the air the Texas bill. It says you can't teach the concept that one race is better than another. That is foundational to racism, as well as Jim Crow and any number of other aspects of structural racism inside the United States. And it goes if you actually have a problem with that, which he implies that he does, he implies that he wants slavery to be taught, well, then you better do something fast, because now it's against the law.
Now, it is not against the law to teach slavery. And we're going to look at the bill in just a moment after one more clip from Fox. It is not against the law to teach slavery. That is absurd. And clearly, John here has not read the bill. Not read the bill. And it's funny that they're mocking Jesse for making claims about the bill without reading it, while these two here are making claims about the bill without reading it. They just believe whatever someone that agrees with their opinions politically says, just because someone they agree with said it, without actually fact-checking it. And that's where propaganda comes in. Let's go a little further.
And you have a big platform. Lots of people watch The Five. So Jesse Waters should bring on the actual text and be like, this is wrong, let's change it. He's not going to do that.
Of course.
And of course, they're not going to bring on the actual text of the bill either, because it disproves them. He's lying to you.
It's not. In fact, why don't we go to the next clip where, Fowler continues to push back, and just pay close attention to Jesse Waters' behavior.
Back to what I was saying.
Johnny.
So the topics that it currently blocks is sexism, slavery, racial segregation, racial discrimination, including topics related to the enactment and the enforcement of laws resulting in sexism, racial oppression, and segregation. That's like half of American history.
Yeah, so you're saying history's banned.
Excuse me.
History's banned in Iowa. So
what that actually means is if you're a student, a high school student in Iowa, and you're studying for the American AP history exam, you're likely to fail because half of these topics won't be taught.
Okay.
So good luck to the students in Iowa, and the bill in Oklahoma,
from 1776, they're not
the bill in
teaching
Tennessee.
from 1776 to 1965.
They can't teach.
That's all. History starts in 1965 in Iowa.
Actually, if you really were to be specific, they really couldn't teach 1976 because Abigail Adams' letters to her husband about remembering the women would actually be illegal.
No, that's what I'm saying. They don't even start in 1776.
I'm just telling you what the bill says.
History starts in
which
Iowa.
Is part of the problem.
In 1965.
Which is part of the problem, because when you attack critical race theory and actually not talk about what's actually being taught in class, which is the truth about American history, we have this dilemma.
All right, so we're going to stop. He read and said that it was prohibited to teach sexism, prohibited to teach slavery, prohibited to teach all of these things. We're actually going to look at the bill. All right, so this is the actual bill, and you can see right here, I'm on the website, lagis.iowa.gov. This is directly from Iowa's government website. The bill in question is House Bill 802. And we're looking here at the House bill, and you can see this is what was read by Richard on Fox News. It says Section F, right here. Prohibit the use of curriculum that teaches the topics of sexism, slavery, racial oppression, racial segregation, or racial discrimination, including topics relating to the enactment and enforcement of laws resulting in sexism, racial oppression, segregation, and discrimination. And he said, well, see, it prohibits these things because it says prohibit the use of these things, and therefore, that's half of American history. History can't be taught. That is incorrect. It is a lie. Unfortunately, what Richard did is he didn't actually read the bill. He grabbed a phrase. He Control F'd, or he did a find and search for the word racism or slavery on the bill and just read that line. But if you notice, this has the letter F. It is numbered. Right before it is bullet point E and then D. So if we back up to the beginning of this, we are actually under topic number 4, and then A, B, C, D, E, and F are sections under topic number 4. And it says on number 4, this section shall not being the key word, be construed to do any of the following. And then one of those following is to prohibit the use of curriculum or text that teaches these topics. It says that this bill, this section of this bill, this law, shall not be construed to prohibit these things. In other words, it's saying the exact opposite of what Richard and the Young Turks are saying. It says that the law says this law shall not be construed to prohibit the use of curriculum that teaches the topics of sexism, slavery, racial oppression, racial segregation, or racial discrimination. In other words, you absolutely can teach these things. Now, Richard said it would be against the law to teach slavery. The bill says otherwise. It explicitly says it would not be against the law. So this is a complete lie. It is propaganda. And they're mocking Jesse for not reading the bill and for saying that can't be true, even when he hadn't read the bill, while they're taking one statement out of the bill and ignoring the context in which that statement was put in. For example, if I said the idea that black people are not equal to white people is horrific and immoral, if you cut that clip up and just get the phrase black people are inferior to white people, if you just cut that up and just get that one phrase out of the context of the whole sentence, it sounds like I'm saying the exact opposite of what I'm saying. That's why it's important not to believe the propaganda that media sells you. Now, you can go watch this full video of the Young Turks as well as the full video of the Fox and Friends video on the 5. It's down in the description. Go read it. I'm also going to put the link to this bill in the description. Go read the whole bill. Don't believe propaganda. The whole point of this video, again, on Thursdays, we're going to expose propaganda and lies in the media. So if you're interested, hit that subscribe button. Click that notification bell so you make sure you don't miss a single video. Those will drop every Thursday night. If you like this video, click like. Comment down below, how much propaganda have you seen in the media? Put it down below. Let's talk about it. Until next time.
Thanks so much for watching. For more videos, click subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you enjoyed the video, click that like button. See you next time.